Another episode of the Douglas the Dean podcast. Like, comment, and subscribe. Going live. This is Hannibal for the Hannibal TV. This week. No, I'm just joking. All right. I'm hyped in charge, hyped in charged. Thank you for the many new subscribers that I just found out that I had. That includes Pierre, Doc Jones 92, Rick Noel, Teresa Howard, James Myers, Bradley Shurto, Naturally Me, Ricky Isaac. You go, Ricky Isaac. Thank you for all subscribing, and if I missed anyone, please accept my apologies. Now, let's get with the ish. Haha, because I told you what would happen. So for those that did not listen to my post predictions, and I can tell by my views, you should go back and listen to those so you can find out exactly what I said. But prior to me getting into the Royal Rumble, because I wanted to wait, this is why this is delayed, I wanted to wait until after SmackDown to see the chemistry between Edge and Roman and what that promo would be like. But before I get into that, I want to do some honorable mentions from the past week and some other wrestling blah before we get into the ish. Honorable mention number 1, the power of Mr. Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy shut Ish down quickly with his retort responding to the Hardy Bros. Is one of the best promos that I've ever seen him do. It made me recognize that on Raw they had teamed up Carlito with Jeff.
As a matter of fact, Vince McMahon is so obsessed with the greatness and the popularity and the success of the Hardy Boys
that he's created the Hardy Bros.
He's trying to confuse the marketplace because he so wishes he still had the Hardy Boys. The Hardy Bros with Jeff and Matt Riddle, that's not gonna work.
Okay, next honorable mention has to go to, I thought this was hilarious, when Charlotte was teaming with Asuka and that Ric Flair music came on and she got upset, and when she left and she kicked that goddamn step, oh my God, I was laughing because it was like a little kid kicking rocks. I was laughing my ass off. The only thing that, unless I missed it, I don't think I did, how come we don't get an Asuka and Charlotte, backstage moment where, you just hear Asuka speaking in Japanese, just going off, and then, Charlotte with her head in the lap or something, to that effect. And it's like, all right, I get it. I messed up or something like that. I just thought that would have been interesting. And, if there's any time, you put Asuka in something, she can either be hilarious or she can really put the heat on when she needs it. And she had kind of warned her pre-match, like after that, this is it, like no more. So they never did a follow-up. I mean, maybe they're going to follow up in Raw this coming week. I don't know, but it is what it is. But like I was saying, I watched that clip over and over again. She just kicked that step and I just fell out. I mean, the storyline itself is very silly because I don't understand why his music would actually prevent her from pinning was it Dana Brooke or Lana. It is what it is. I just didn't get it, but I just thought that whole thing was just funny in itself. Next is the post-interview when Naomi and Lana won for the chance to challenge for the tag titles. That's taboo. The thing that sticks out is in their post-interview, and even when they were on Raw Talk. Why is it that all these women are like best friends? So Lana is, oh my God, you don't understand. Like, Naomi is like really my best friend. All the late nights and the crying on each other's shoulder and da da da. And then, we go back, 2, 3 months. We see, she is hanging out with Natalia. Then you interview Natalia, or she's speaking about Lana slash CJ on her YouTube channel, and it's just basically like, you guys don't understand. Like, Lana's my best friend. CJ is so much about her. She's just my best friend. We train every day, and so it's like, how many people are best friends outside of the real best friends?
Impressive showing there. Best friends once again reigning victorious.
And final honorable mention goes to Edge, who I think this was the best promo I've ever seen from him with on NXT when he meets Karrion Kross for the first time. Dope. It was way better than the promo that really wasn't a promo on SmackDown, which is what I was waiting for to make the final assessment, which is what I stated earlier. I love the tease. I also love the tease with when he appeared with Balor and the other gentleman. I love the tease. If he's interested in going to NXT, that's somebody that I think that could really help elevate it. But I would love to see a storyline with Karrion Kross and Edge. Even if Edge loses to Roman, bring him over, like wait a month or whatever, then bring him over, because he's not going to be wrestling every week. He has that special contract. Bring him over to NXT. You F around, you know what? I thought about Christian, but then I said, no, he's like seriously injured. There's no way. And then he popped up. I would say bring Christian over there. That would be cool. Something different. Like I said last year with the whole Charlotte and Rhea. Be something different, something that can help push the brand a little bit more. They can even do a tag run, maybe not even win the titles, then still do singles matches. I could see, to me, I've always stated, and I'll repeat again, Christian was the best heel that they've ever had to me. Period. Also, you may want to give your boy a pat on the back, because I told you in the pre-Royal Rumble, when I made the comment that New Japan was definitely happening, as I stated last year as well. 3 days later, Kenta shows up. You're welcome. As we make transition, the Goldberg versus McIntyre match. We knew what to expect. I'm going to explain a little bit more on Drew McIntyre as I get closer to talking about Edge. The takeaways from that match was, Goldberg is really starting to look more like Gilbert at this point. If you're going to continue wrestling, even if it's once or twice throughout the year, my suggestion is to try as much to keep as much muscle mass on as you can. I don't know at what point he decided to cut down from being at the gym, but everyone's body's different. This is me just jack-jawing. Also, with that stated, the fact that he is a much leaner, or I should say / frailer looking Bill Goldberg, it just makes me question how effective is the spear, because he's not as big or as wide or as broad of a person that he once was. So when I'm watching him, spearing, but I get it. I thought also that the tipping of the hat could have been a little better. I don't know, if they just decided they were going to wing that at the end. They could have. Anyhow, next on my list is the Sasha Carmella match. It was actually better than what I thought it would be. And my opinions overall with the Carmella character is still questionable because I don't understand how she just got 2 matches without even, upon return, without having to climb the ladder and have prior matches. I thought that a really great idea would have been to have her return and she could have beat up Bianca because she owed her that from actually 2 years ago? 2 years ago. Survivor Series NXT runs through SmackDown. So it would have been perfect to have her return and, give her back a receipt. With the whole I'm unstoppable, and then you give her this sidekick. I just think that a better idea would have been to have her team up, or play this. The reason why she would be unstoppable is because you gave her someone like Lars Sullivan to watch her back. Then you wouldn't have had to, it wouldn't have been this big brouhaha and just Ray just got fired. But it wouldn't have been this big brouhaha as to, is he like the next big thing, this and the third. He could have been the strong silent type. She could have talked basically is what AJ's doing in a nutshell. That would be the reason why she's unstoppable. So she can go around bullying people and then he would just show up and they'd back away, or even he'd help her beat up Bianca before they had their match, and then it would lead up into her eventually. I mean, just like her and Bailey, maybe because I know that they were really good friends or still are good friends. Her and Bailey plotting some scheme where Bailey would help her out, and in return she'd help Bailey out down the line. So this would, that the perfect scheme for Bailey to get under the skin of Sasha would be to jerk her around by having her face Carmella, and maybe down the line it would be her scheme that, she can easily beat Bailey, I'm speaking, or that Carmella would wear Sasha down so that when Bailey eventually would face Sasha again down the line, a match sooner than later, she'd be primed for her to get back the title. I actually was not in any rush to see a match between the two women at WrestleMania because they had basically, once you go over the top for me, it's like you can't just have a regular simple match. And they had that Hell in a Cell. It has to be a very specialty match, over the top match, strap match, or something that has to be like next level. And they already did the Last Woman Standing in NXT. So it is what it is. But yeah, that was my thing with Carmella. I also had the concept of she could have also been unstoppable. I believe, I heard her discuss one time that her dad was backstage, and for those that may not know, he was a former WWE talent. He had been trying to, find out if there was something, maybe that he can do, that he can get back in. And she was blocking that. And I don't understand why. She said that to the fact that, he'd be backstage and he would see Vince and he'd be scheming to make a beeline and she would block that. And I think that's kind of silly in a way because you only get one chance in this life, and why not get a chance to work with your dad, even if it's once? We already see Charlotte's doing it, Ray and his son are doing it, and so on and so on and so on. So, is that going to be something that you're going to regret later? He's still a big guy and he's been training her. It would just make perfect sense. So if you're not going to use someone like Lars Sullivan because he's all twisted up. Well, actually, he has anxiety issues, and we've just experienced that with Kylie Ray. So, it's understandable. He's been questionable, period. But, it makes sense, at least to me, to, have that storyline. And then you can even transition that and, into something with her and Charlotte and her dad and Rick. But it is what it is. Overall, Like I said, the match was better than I thought it was. I have to give Carmella way more credit, wrestling wise, and that's a whole conversation for another time. The part of that match that stood out was when she was beating down Sasha, and she's like, I'm better than you. I'm better than you. I'm hotter than you. I'm smarter than you. And she pauses and goes, I'm Carmella. Hilarious. And if there was a crowd, she's done something similar to that. She knows how to work that crowd. And with that stated, what did I say? I told you it's going to be 1 to 3 Bs, right? I also stated Bailey comes in first, what to watch for. That didn't happen, but I said 1 to 3 Bs. And by the end of that match, it dawned on me, and I should have keyed in because I had missed the Chronicle. I said, oh, that's why they put the Chronicle up on Bianca. If I had seen the Chronicle, I probably would have been more laser focused in on her. But I knew it would be one of the Bs. And it's something that I realized when I watched the previous Royal Rumble, and I learned in this Royal Rumble, watching Bailey come in first, and then last year watching Alexa come in. I believe that what they do in the Rumbles is they have a grizzled veteran, or just say a veteran, show up as number one to lead and kind of direct the talent and make sure that everyone is safe. What I did notice in this Royal Rumble, on 2 instances, Bailey saving, at one point she saved Bianca, and I don't think it was Baszler, it was Bianca and someone. They had gone over the rope and she was holding on to them, if you rewatch it. And then there's another point where Bailey's holding on to someone else throughout the match, making sure that they don't, botch up and fall. So, they're there to, the veteran is usually going to come out first to kind of like guide, and watch them. Okay, the Royal Rumble match just began, and what did I say? I said if Bailey comes in number 1, right? Okay. Glad to see Naomi. That was very, very fast. And Bianca just entered, and I thought, just in my opinion, that it was just very early for her to be entered in so soon, but that's just my opinion. Okay, I noticed 2 saves, I believe, by Bailey. One was saving Bianca and Naomi, and the other one was her saving Bianca. If you watch the match again, just making sure they're safe. And it's almost like I predicted this, the thing with Billie Kay, minus the headset. It's almost as if I wrote this thing, dude. I mean, it's not that close, but I mean, so far I'd say I've called 2 things just about. I mean, I would have done the Billie Kay a little different, but it's very, very similar. Yo, what the fuck is up with Billie? She is retarded, yo. She's gonna rip it up. Man, like, I would have never thought that Billie Kay would end up stealing the show from this whole goddamn thing. I told you what I would have done with Billie Kay. It was almost as if I had written a script. She did almost exactly, minus the headset, minus having the headset, she did exactly what I thought she was going to do, minus them, like, just my whole concept, but it was very similar to it. She is a riot. She is a riot. She's actually sitting on SmackDown doing guest commentary, holding the headshot as she's doing commentary. She's a trip. And as I've stated before, she's going to be more over than Peyton. It just is because she's more of a character. She's more of a character. And keep in mind, she's created catchphrases Peyton has yet to do. Not that they're not both interesting. Peyton picks her shots, but when it comes to overall personality, Billy's got her beat. I would never have put it together that despite me mentioning the Billy's gimmick, that I would never thought that she was going to. Holy shit. I was wondering if Victoria was going to show up. Holy shit. Holy shit, man. I was sitting here over the weekend. I was like, nah. They must have called her like in the last minute. Wow. Because she put on a few pounds. But then again, I think she hasn't wrestled in like 2 years. I think. Well, she fell between the ropes. Yeah, it took a lot to get that leg drop. A couple of extra chicken thighs. Yeah. All we need is Jazz, but we know where she's at. That ain't happening. It feels like this Royal Rumble is a little bit, it's like they're going for like the laugh a little bit too much. It's very like lighthearted to me. In the back of my mind, I thought about Victoria. And then again, she said in an interview that she thought that they didn't want her back because she made a comment. It was nothing big. But anyhow, it was a great seeing Victoria / Lisa Marie Varon make her return, and she knows that everything is settled, it's all good. Also, what I didn't hear anyone else mention, which I'm sure this was in their brain, they mentioned that they were sponsoring and promoting Victoria beer, the Mexican beer, if I'm correct, when Ray came in and he had the logo on him. And I said, it all makes sense. So no one tied in Victoria with that as well. So it was a subliminal. And the fact that she's also Latina, for those that may not know, she's Puerto Rican and Korean. So it was cool seeing her make her appearance and getting that off her shoulders and not stressing that. And I know that Chris Van Vliet probably had something to do with it, because it's not a coincidence that she went up on there and talked about, being interested in AEW, and there might be some talks. And here they come. It's typical that company that when they hear this stuff, here we go. We got to go snatch them. So, and then recently he interviewed someone else and they said something. I said, here they come. They're going to be listening. They're going to hear this. I don't know if it was Coach. That interview with Coach was very good, very revealing. Yeah, it was Coach, because Coach said he's learned to, become more of a character now, and he could work heel better than he did before. So if they brought him back, now he could really do it. Okay, so Dana Brooke is in. I want to see if what I'm saying is going to come true, or is she going to get eliminated? Because the next person is either going to be Sonya, Mandy, or Naya, I'm thinking. Then again, it might be Natty. Yo, that elimination rip on fucking Brooke, that shit like it hurt. Like a Mandy, right? Oh no. Here comes Lacey, right? Or is this Rick? Oh, she eliminated Bailey? Oh. Mick, I was right about that one. Wow, I was shocked with the Bailey one. That one, I missed it. I saw Peyton go over, but I missed, well, I guess the camera people missed it as well. Oh, that's funny. Okay, at this point, is anybody's guess now. Well, no, not really, because I said the 3 Bs, so we still got 2 Bs in here. They brought back the Drunken Master, man. Oh my gosh. Please get rid of this broad in like 15 seconds, please. Please. Once they brought out truth, you know what that means. So, yeah. See, they were so messy. They just messed up someone's interests, which is Mandy Rose's. It would be mad funny if Mandy just pinned her ass and then just threw her ass out the goddamn ring, and then she'd get that belt. If there's any time for for Sonya Deville to roll out, this is the perfect time right now. After this goofy-ish stops. 2, 1. Din, 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 din. Dakota Cobra Kai. So there goes my Sonya Deville theory right out the window. Or my Sonya Deville / Mandy theory right out the window. Okay, my second B is out. One of my B's won. BB, thank you. I hope that she goes up against Sasha Banks. That could be really good. I wasn't expecting Edge to go from the beginning all the way to the end. I thought it would be Bayley, if anything, as I stated. But I did call it, and it's seeming like it's going to probably lead that way. I don't know. They're still dangling the carrot with whether or not, basically whom Edge is going to pick. I think, as stated, either for Mania, Edge Roman, or Edge Roman McIntyre, one of those two. Edge McIntyre doesn't have any steam as far as I'm concerned. I just started watching back wrestling like a few years ago, probably Mania 17. So all those years when Edge and Orton, I'm catching up on. So I can't recall Edge ever wrestling McIntyre. Anyone that's out there that's been watching it consistently, feel free to comment, let me know. Let's just say they have wrestled before, and now you're going to watch it again, and it's probably years before, McIntyre is who he is. So, to me, it's like it's not really what I would be interested in watching those two. And also, I think that the company, they didn't do right by Drew McIntyre as the champion. And what I mean by that, he's got the body, he's got the looks, he's got the skill sets. Now, the pandy happened. It's no one's fault, because I really do wish that I could remember. It was the one time when I really started focusing in on Drew, and he was heel face. And this is definitely 2 years ago. In 19, he had the long black coat. He came down, he was cutting some promo. As he was walking toward the ring, he did something that was very smooth, and then he kind of leaned over while he was cutting his promo. I can't remember who he was cutting it on. I leaned over to where the fans were, and he was looking at this lady, and I could see the women's reactions toward him, and I was like, yo, if he goes face, I could see the women just swooning over him if they do it right, if they're really pushing to make him a star. I add on the fact that once he wins the title, the way that the company served him opponents, it's basically, you didn't make any stars that would make me believe that he was going to have real competition. I knew you weren't going to I knew you weren't going to hand the belt over to Dolph. As nice as he is, as much as I really want to see him leave the company, as much as I wished, looking in the archives, he had gone to Impact when Morrison went, he's a guy that should be in AEW, especially now that his bro's over there. He's a guy that should totally be cut the strings off. Don't give him the freaking Miro treatment and let him do him. And I think that he will show his ass. He will have another level added on if he goes over there. but I knew that that wasn't going to fly. Then when they gave him, what's bro's name now? He's over in Impact and he's injured. It was like one that was in, was a 3B or whatever. That's his friend, his best friend. We knew he was leaving because he had already gotten fired. A redhead kid. I knew that he wasn't going to get the title. The only one that they could feed him that would, that would be strong enough as far as being a bigger star would be RKO. You could even possibly throw in the Miz, but no, I don't. The Miz doesn't really need the title. Now, if you had really pushed Lashley, then you could have really had something. I mean, like really pushed him. I'm talking about the type of push that he had gotten when he and Braun Strowman fought, and they fell into the back wall, and it was the lights, and it blew up in the whole 9 yards. And everyone was like, "Oh, Heyman's behind," and they were, "Thank you, Heyman." That time, that was in 18, I believe, early 18. Like if you had steadily pushed him to now and then SummerSlam or something like that. I can't remember when they formed the Hurt Business. I think it might have been right around that time because they were still doing the lottery. But someone like Lashley, they could have really, I'm talking about cutting all the politics BS and let them go at it. Strowman, they did the same thing. He wasn't a strong enough champion. Because, I mean, look, they basically just handed it to him. It fell in his lap because of the pandy and because Roman pulled out. So it was like, okay, well, you're going to have to, and I believe that in the end, in another year or so, because he did right by the company and held his head and did what he was supposed to do. I think that in another year or so, if he doesn't leave, and I don't think he will, I think he's going to be a loyal person to that company. It will come back and pay off dividends if there's no other incidences like what we went through and still going through now. But I felt like they didn't build a big enough marquee talent around Drew to really make it like that. That's why you saw 2 matches, if not with 3 matches with him and Randy. It wasn't, they didn't have anyone else strong enough that could like really, and it's not like there's no talent, it's that they wasn't pushed. So I get annoyed when I hear your boy get on corporate calls and lie, talk about, oh, we need to make bigger stars. You got a plethora of talent there. Even no, he never even fought. It's on Raw. He fought Keith Lee, but Keith Lee still isn't getting the push to really elevate him to make him that he's the guy. The best thing that could happen to Keith Lee, and I'll just say that little moment and move on, is that he can go over to SmackDown because Roman told him after Survivor Series, this is a fact. You can research. This is a fact that he told him that I can't wait. Like you and I, we got to get in the ring. We got to wrestle. We got to have a big match, because of the respect factor. But he's not getting that push right now. So at the end of the day, they didn't really give him, McIntyre, the heat, like the match. Like if you brought Lesnar back and they had, let's say after Randy, here comes Lesnar, or you had Lesnar and Randy and then you did a 3-way dance, so you milked it. Had 2 matches, 2 pay-per-views with Randy, then here comes Lesnar, then you had a 3-way dance with those 3. Something, and then every match, McIntyre goes over. Because think about it, he dropped the title to Randy. That was really just to buy time. Everyone at every company, they're buying time until they can get fans back because they're probably saving some of their best stuff. I mean, when you think about it, they were supposed to be in Hollywood this year. As far as I'm concerned, with Roman going heel, the only match, I mean, now things have changed. The only match that made sense would be him versus Rock, because he's getting a big head. But now that you're not going to see that until another 2 more years, until, because I think maybe next year, because I thought Rock said maybe 2022. He's being smart. He doesn't want to get injured prior to doing that Black Adam, because that Black Adam is going to be a big franchise. If it's a really big film, that's going to be a big hit. And now that'll be like maybe 3, if not 4 franchises. But I'll save that for my film commentaries. You guys can roll over that when I drop that. I don't want to get into the film stuff. Let's just stay right now with wrestling. Anyhow, yeah, so me seeing Edge and McIntyre, I don't really have the interest. But if you did a 3-way dance, yeah, I have an interest. I don't know who you're going to give McIntyre to for friggin' WrestleMania, because like I said, unless they give him Lashley, unless they do a push in 2 months and Lashley goes ham, because you've been seeing him act wild. If they give him Lashley and that the company lets him go, they can do a effing really great match, I feel. Anyhow, back to what I predicted. Yes, pat on my back, hit it on the head. But I would love to see Roman Edge, especially if they did something which I haven't seen before, but you all out there, let me know. I think would be an interesting move set is if they both speared each other at the same time and hit shoulder to shoulder and put each other out. That would be something interesting. I don't want them getting injured, but it would be something interesting, something different.